2, 3.
There's a lost river that flows through a valley where no one goes, where the wild waters rush, rumbles deep in the hush. Gone far from there now, Lord, I'll be back somehow, to where the wild river winds in the shadow of the pines.
Oh, lost river, now I'm going back to the pot-bellied stove, where the firewood's all stacked. Ah, Quebec girl, go with me on my bell, my fleur-de-lis, where the lost river winds in the shadow of the pines.
Now everybody knows where that lost river flows. It's someplace he's lost, one rivers that he's crossed. Well, he'd like to return, but his river's all ours, and he's much too far down to return the higher ground.
Oh, lost river, now I'm going back to the pot-bellied stove, where the firewood's all stacked. Ah, Quebec girl, go with me on my bell, my fleur-de-lis, where the lost river winds in the shadow of the pines. Oh, the lost river far over the ridge. Now is it too late for me to build me a new bridge to the bright golden times when your love was still mine and the world was still wild like the heart of a child? Oh, lost river, now I'm coming back to the pot-bellied stove, where the firewood's all stacked. Ah, Quebec girl, go with me on my bell, my fleur-de-lis, where the lost river winds in the shadow of the pines, where the lost river winds in the shadow of the
Okay, now let's see. Well, we haven't done Hickory Ruins, right? What was that?
Yep. In South Carolina, there are many tall pines. I remember the oak tree that we used to climb. But now when I'm lonesome, I always pretend that I'm getting the feel of Hickory. I started out younger and most everything of riches and pleasure. What else could life bring? But it makes me feel better each time it begins.
it's gone away. Yesterday, now I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the great divide. Now I heard them, how the calling softly as the night was falling, with the question, and I replied, now he's gone across the borderline. He's gone away. Yesterday, now I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the great divide. The finest tower I have seen is the one that comes between the edge of night and the break of day. It's where the darkness rolls away, and it's gone away. Yesterday, now I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the great divide. It's gone away. Yesterday, now I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the great divide.
It's only one chord.
Good morning. This one will wake you up like we haven't already.
Well, I got a home on the other shore. Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? I know I'll live there forevermore.
Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Thank God there's a heaven and a ringing in my soul, and my soul set free. Don't you hear Jerusalem moan?
But it's a hard road along and a mighty long way.
Don't you hear Jerusalem moan?
But you feel me flying over so to say.
Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Thank God there's a heaven and a ringing in my soul, and my soul set free. Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Don't you hear Jerusalem moan?
He's on a first name basis with the saints inside.
Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Lord, Lord, Lord. Lord, Lord, Lord.
I just hear Jerusalem moan.
Lord, Lord, Lord. Lord, Lord, Lord. Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Don't you hear Jerusalem moan? Thank God there's a heaven and a ringing in my soul, and my soul set free. Don't you hear Jerusalem moan?
Good morning. Woo. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I'm Alexa Adamo Valverde, and I'm a member of the Worship Socius Ministry. Is there a ringing? Okay. We extend a warm welcome to all on this gorgeous spring day, especially visitors and newcomers. We're so glad that you're here. We want to bring your attention to the special Welcome Guests and Newcomers section on the back of the order of service. And after service, please join us for our in-person Sunday social. It's an opportunity to connect, engage in conversation, and start feeling like a part of our community. We also welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of service may be found on the live stream screen, and a complete order of service, including weekly announcements, is available through the link in the Sunday morning email and on our church website. If you could, please turn off or silence any cell phones during our service to maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, and however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. This morning, I will provide information about Share the Plate on behalf of our community church member, Lisa Epner. Today, Share the Plate will benefit Table, a nonprofit organization that delivers bags of food weekly to underserved children in the Chapel Hill Carborough schools. Volunteers fill bags with food, half with canned goods and the other half with fresh produce. On a tour of Table's new 8,000 square foot building, Lisa witnessed bins being filled with green limes, red tomatoes, and fresh apples. Shelves were well stocked with canned goods. One for students, bags are put in 3 categories, one for students with allergies, one for religious preferences, and another general one. And once a month, a dozen eggs are included. Every year, Table features a different vegetable. You may remember 2 years ago, it was broccoli. Last year, Table featured zucchini, and this year, they're highlighting bok choy. So every bag comes with a recipe, a stir-fry recipe to use it. And Table currently serves 1,100 children every week, plus there is a waiting list. So please contribute what you can during the morning offering. Donations you contribute to Table are much appreciated, and if writing a check, please put STP for Share the Plate, and then put Table in the memo line. And if donating online, just use that QR code on the back of the order of service. And if you'd like more information, please email Lisa Epner at 2monalisa@gmail.com, and that's TOMonalisa@gmail. Thank you, and now please rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 21 in the gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Oh
Come in from the clamor and the scatter of your days. Come into this space where stillness waits, and the great bowl of sky holds us all in its quiet care. Here, like berries in a shared bowl, we gather, sweet with our own stories, ripe with questions, grateful for the chance to be passed hand to hand in the sacred ceremony of belonging. Let us remember the earth beneath us, not as backdrop, but as kin. Let us remember one another, not as strangers, but as companions in the ancient dance of reciprocity. As surely as we belong to the universe, we belong to each other. So come, let us worship not with words alone, but with the full weight of our gratitude and the bright seeds of our care, ready to be planted again. Come, let us worship together. The words for our chalice lighting were adapted from John Seuss. They are in your order of service. Please join me in reading them if you wish to do so. To be of the earth is to know the restlessness of being a seed, the darkness of being planted, the struggle toward the light, the pain of growth into light, the joy of bursting and bearing fruit, the love of being food for someone, the scattering of your seeds, the decay of the seasons, the mystery of death, and the miracle of birth.
I don't know for a fact that we're the only church in Chapel Hill featuring the Grateful Dead as music this morning, but something tells me we're the only church in Chapel Hill featuring the Grateful Dead in church this morning. Good morning and welcome. Each week we hold in our service a time for sharing the joys and the sorrows that we bring with us into this church community. If you've come this morning with either a significant personal joy or a significant sorrow, you're invited to come forward, to place a stone in the bowl, speak your name into the microphone, and briefly share your joy or your sorrow. Let us enter into this time of tenderness and trust.
Hi, I'm Kathy Cole, my husband, Steve. We had a joy and a sorrow last weekend. Friday night at 7:30, my younger daughter called us, and she was to be a bridesmaid in the wedding on Saturday. And they were at the rehearsal, and the parents of the groom kind of went off the edge, and everybody ended up crying and sobbing. And there was almost violence involved. And Stephanie said, "Can we have the wedding at the farm tomorrow?" And there was no reason to say no. The weeds had not overgrown the flowers yet. The house was fairly clean. So these folks, there were 60, they showed up Saturday morning to help us put on a wedding, and we had a wedding at 4 o'clock that afternoon.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Jansen. If your daughter and family are doing reconstruction on their home, and ask if they can move in. All 5 of them, including 3 children, 10, 7, and 3. And you say yes. And I want to announce that the first week has been very successful. And the contractor says it'll only be 12 to 13 weeks.
Good morning. My name is Maureen O'Rourke. I hope this is okay, but you know, Pope Francis died a couple of days ago, and I was going to tell you a story about him working with these transsexual prostitutes in the slums of Rome. But I thought instead what I want to say to you is this: the cardinals are going to vote on a new pope. And I want us to hold in our thoughts and in our prayers and a meditation that they choose a pope that can walk in the shoes of Pope Francis. Thank you.
My name is Franklin Hirsch, and I'm placing a stone this morning at my mother Marian Hirsch's request to mark the passing of her father, Henry Pressler.
Hi, I'm Catherine Grudensky. I know I'm not the only one in this boat, but I work for a federal contractor, RTI International, and I've been watching as lots of different chunks of people have lost their jobs as federal contracts have been canceled. And this past week, I think, was my week. So the Department of Justice canceled so many of our projects that we've worked so hard for so many years to build up and envision and we're very excited about, and they just got wiped out. And so I, want to extend sympathy to everyone else who's in the same boat. I know so many folks are struggling with this, but it really is a sorrow to see this work stopped. So, thanks.
A final stone is placed this morning for all of the joys and the sorrows that were not spoken, but live in our hearts. Won't you join with me in a time of prayer and meditation? Spirit of life, source of our being and our becoming, we come together this day, carrying the joys as well as the sorrows of our lives. We come with mourning for those near and dear to us who have passed away. We come with concern for those suffering from illness, those facing hardship. We come with concern for our world, our country. We come together on this Earth Day earlier this week, this April Earth Month, to reflect upon our world, to celebrate its beauty and its gifts, to witness to its devastations, and to recommit ourselves to the path of better living and greater loving. Let us hold together a silence as we consider both the joys and the sorrows of our hearts, and indeed of the communities and ecosystems that exist around us. I invite you to be silent with me for a few moments. I invite you to open your gray hymnal to number 163 for the earth forever turning, and we are going to remain seated as we sing this hymn of love and wonder to this planet.
For
This morning's reading comes from the book Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. The author is a botanist and a citizen of the Potawatomi Nation and braids together scientific knowledge and indigenous teachings to help us connect with the earth. She wrote, "The berries are always present at our ceremonies. They join us in a wooden bowl, one big bowl and one big spoon, which are passed around the circle so that each person can taste the sweetness, remember the gifts, and say thank you. They carry the lesson passed to us by our ancestors that the generosity of the land comes to us as one bowl, one spoon. We are all fed from the same bowl that Mother Earth has filled for us. It's not just about the berries, but also about the bowl. The gifts of the earth are to be shared. The gifts are not limitless. The generosity of the earth is not an invitation to take it all. Every bowl has a bottom. When it's empty, it's empty. How do we refill the empty bowl? Is gratitude alone enough? Berries teach us otherwise. When berries spread out their giveaway blanket, offering their sweetness to birds and bears and boys alike, the transaction does not end here. Something beyond gratitude is asked of us. The berries trust that we will uphold our end of the bargain and dispense their seeds to new places to grow, which is good for berries and for boys. They remind us that all flourishing is mutual. We need the berries, and the berries need us. Their gifts multiply by our care for them and dwindle from our neglect. We are bound in a covenant of reciprocity, a pact of mutual responsibility to sustain those who sustain us. And so the empty bowl is filled. And now it is time for our offertory. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please put your camera at the QR code on the back of the order of service and tap the banner that appears. Or there is information on the church's website. We will now receive the morning offering.
A time of war, a time of peace, a time of healing. time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
What a treat to have the Bluegrass Battleship with us this morning. When I became the minister here a bunch of years ago, that was one of the cool things. Was like this church comes with its own bluegrass band, and I'm like, oh, that's the best. One thing that you may not know about me is that I tend to be resistant to new technology. If you didn't know that, now you do. If there's a new technology out there, my reaction is that I do not want anything to do with it, and more than that, I will pretty much refuse to adopt it until I'm basically forced to do so. Is anybody else like that? Okay, a few people. So this is a digression. Take listening to music. I love listening to music in my car. And for the longest time, I would keep a stack of about a dozen compact discs in the, in the thing beside the seat. In the console. I'm not a tech person. And every week or so, I would just take the stack inside and remix it with some others and come back and have a new stack in the console. But then I needed to get a new car. And when I went shopping for a new car, I learned that there was actually, at that time, only one car on the market, a brand of Subaru, that came with a compact disc player. And I did not want a Subaru, but I seriously considered buying a Subaru, just so I wouldn't have to adopt a new technology for listening to music. But in the end, I gave in. I bought a car without a CD player, and I subscribed to a digital music streaming service. And as a listener, there are certain advantages to this, namely having access to nearly every piece of music ever recorded at any time, instead of the 12. And while that might seem like progress, I also have my reservations. I realized that I began to listen differently, that I was less likely to take the time to really learn an album, to value and find and listen to the hidden gems. And plus, I became troubled to learn that the switch to digital music streaming services results in decreased earnings for my favorite artists. There's another technology that's all the rave these days, artificial intelligence. You would not be surprised to learn that I feel pretty much the same way about AI that I do about all new technology, which is I want nothing to do with it. My sermon this morning is not about AI. If it were, I would probably be not the right person to give it, seeing as how I want nothing to do with it. And I'm aware that AI is already a part of my life and all of our lives, whether we like it or not. But let me raise two specific issues that are concerning to me. My first concern is with the use of generative artificial intelligence, which is artificial intelligence technology that can take on creative tasks. Over the past several years, I've had many people ask me, so Thom, are you going to stop writing sermons now? And they say, well, now you can just say to AI, write a sermon, and it'll do that for you. Couldn't I just go on a program like ChatGPT and tell it to write a sermon for me? Why bother to spend hours researching, reading, thinking, writing? Now, I'd never do that. For one thing, I'm aware that ChatGPT isn't actually writing the sermon. All that it's doing is taking sermons that already exist, that were crafted with labor and creativity by others and lifting from them. And that raises all sorts of issues around ethics and intellectual property. But the real reason is this. Why do poets write poems? Can't they just have ChatGPT write a poem? And why do composers write music? Couldn't they just have AI write the music? And why do painters paint? Couldn't they just have a computer do it? Writing is a fulfilling creative enterprise, and why would any of us want to estrange ourselves from the process of our own creativity? Which brings me to the second thing that concerns me deeply about AI, and this is not a sermon about AI, which is the energy that's required for it to run. Doing a simple search on the web using an artificial intelligence requires 10 times more energy than using a standard web browser. By the year 2030, just 5 years from now, artificial intelligence will consume as much energy as the entire nation of Japan, the 5th largest country in the world in terms of energy use. And in the United States, it was announced last fall that Microsoft is reopening 3 Mile Island in order to power its AI programs. It seems like an additional burden to our already burdened world. But my sermon this morning is not about artificial intelligence. The seeds of this sermon came about when I saw some news report or other about some massive investment being made in artificial intelligence, and I dismissively grumbled to myself, well, I think what we should really do is invest in natural intelligence. Which got me thinking. In natural intelligence, that's a clunky term. But what I mean is the wisdom that might be gleaned from the natural world that instructs us on how to live better with each other and better in relationship with all of life and the earth itself. And so when I went seeking out those sources of natural intelligence that we might apply to our living. In her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, that Alexa read from earlier, Robin Wall Kimmerer writes of a covenant of reciprocity with the earth. She writes, "We are all bound by a covenant of reciprocity, plant breath for animal breath, winter and summer, predator and prey, grass and fire, night and day, living and dying. Water knows this, clouds know this, soil and rocks know they are dancing in a continuous giveaway of making, unmaking, and making again the earth." Robin Wall Kimmerer uses the image of a berry, a wonderful and delightful treat, a symbol of everything wonderful the world gives to us. But she points out that it's not a one-way transaction. We have to keep up our end of the bargain. Disperse the seeds, tend the soil, nurture the plants, keep the water clean. It is only when there is that reciprocity that we can enjoy the gift. Robin Wall Kimmerer points out that patterns of extraction, depletion, and irresponsible consumption break this circle of reciprocal generosity and are not sustainable. The berries in the bowl are plentiful, but they are not unlimited. Another lesson that we might take from nature is that diversity results in flourishing, a message we need even more today. Has anyone read those science stories of the indigenous forest gardens? It was in National Geographic like 5 years ago. Several years ago, scientists began to investigate regions of forests in the Pacific Northwest. These areas of forest were especially teeming with life and were these pockets of just immense wildlife and plant diversity. And scientists began to study these regions and were at first confused, like how do you have in the middle of this forest this area that is unlike the rest of it? And how did some of these plants get here? They come from hundreds of miles away. And so they called in ethnobotanists who discovered that these indigenous forest gardens were actually a human-made ecosystem. To quote from National Geographic, for hundreds of years, indigenous communities in what is now British Columbia cleared small patches amid dense conifer forest. They planted and tended food and medicine-bearing trees and plants, sometimes including species from hundreds of miles away, to yield a bounty of nuts and fruits and berries. Gardeners know this, that if you plant only potatoes, you're out of luck if that's the season when the potato blight comes along. But if you plant a diversity of crops, you're much more protected against the season being wetter or drier, colder or warmer, or a particular type of disease or pest that may come along. If we had the intelligence to understand that diversity brings flourishing, it would lead us to take special care and protect and defend ecosystems like rainforests and reefs. But this lesson is not only environmental. It also speaks to the racist ignorance in our country right now. Here in Chapel Hill, we know that a university without international students and faculty, without students and teachers from diverse cultures and backgrounds, is a university that is dumber than it might otherwise be. Another lesson from nature is that the health and survival of large and complex beings is only possible when networks of microscopically small parts of the system are also healthy. There's a fact about the human body that I find remarkable. In the average human being, we have about 30 trillion cells. And in the average human being, there are also 35 to 45 trillion bacteria living inside of us. We have more bacteria in number than we have actual cells. Do people know that? Isn't that cool? I mean, our health and even our survival are directly connected to the health and the survival and balance of tens of trillions of little single-cell critters that hang out inside of us. The blue whale, we know, cannot survive without the krill. The giant redwood cannot survive without microbes in the soil. And people who keep terrariums or aquariums know this, that they, build the aquarium or the terrarium to house like the wonderful big fish or big animal, but then they spend all their time trying to focus on getting a correct balance of microbes in the soil or not too much algae in the water, and making all of these corrections to try to get a balance in the system so that the large being can survive. Finally, I want to share a fourth learning from natural intelligence that I find fascinating. Sometimes we're led to believe that nature works in a way that it actually doesn't. I'm referring here to some old and since disproven studies of animal behavior. My friend and colleague Jake Morrill puts it this way. He writes, "Did you know that the term alpha male, comes from a flawed 1970s study on captive wolves? Researchers then believed that wolf packs were ruled by one dominant male who kept the others in line through aggression. And that idea spread like wildfire. It showed up in business books and self-help seminars and toxic corners of the internet, pushing the idea that leadership is about conquering, controlling, and overpowering. But there was one problem. It wasn't at all true. Years later, scientists studied wolves in the wild, and they found something entirely different. Wolf packs weren't ruled by force. They were families. And the so-called alpha wasn't a dictator, but was a father, a parent leading through guidance and the steadying of relationships. Leading through guidance and the steadying of relationships. The original researchers publicly retracted their findings. Natural intelligence has a lot to teach us about how we relate to the world and to each other.
We're called to live with reciprocity, not just extracting value, but returning care and service. The systems with the most diversity contain the most life and are the most resilient. For a complex organism or organization to thrive, the smallest parts need to be stable and healthy. And leadership is more about care and steadiness than aggression and violence. There are many more lessons that we might draw from the wisdom of the natural world. We would do well to try to live with a bit more natural intelligence. Happy Earth Day, which was earlier this week. Happy Earth Month, everyone. And may it be so. Our closing hymn is one of our favorites. It is 1064 in the Teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home, and I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing together.
Please remain standing in body or in spirit. The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So first, please join me in thanking the incredible Bluegrass Battleship for making our service so worshipful this morning. right, ready? Join us in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service, and as you're comfortable, hold hands with those next to you or cross them over your heart.